Now the next chapter for the 9th class is force and laws of motion. This is chapter number 9. In this chapter we will be talking about force that we have studied in previous classes also, and laws of motion. So force, as far as force is concerned, that's a very simple definition. Force is either push or pull. I am pushing a table, I am pulling a table towards my side. So whenever I am pushing anything or pulling anything, that means a force is exerted by me, an effort is done by me, and that effort in pushing or pulling a thing is known as force. So before we move further, we should know what are the effects of force, because unless we do not know the effect of force, we cannot actually come to know about force. So if I give a simple definition for force, force is simply push or pull. Now what this push or pull can do? What this push or pull can do? This push or pull can change the position of an object. Position of an object. Now position of an object means, may be possible the object was in motion and it comes to rest, or it was in rest, comes into motion. So change the position. It can change the size and shape of an object. Size and shape of an object. If I take a balloon and if I compress it from both the sides, or if I take a sponge, a piece of sponge, its size and shape can be changed. Similarly, it can also change the direction of a moving object. Direction of a moving object. So an object is moving, suppose a ball is thrown towards your side. You just place your hand in between, so its direction changes. It was coming through this way and it changes its way. So direction can also be changed. So push or pull. If I elaborate this definition, I can say force is an effort in terms of either push or pull, which can change or tends to change. Tends to change means likely to change. So force is an effort which can change or tends to change the position of an object, that is from rest to motion or motion to rest. That can change the size and shape of an object, or even it can change the direction of a moving object. So that is force. Now force can be classified into two categories. Force can be classified into two categories, and the first category is, it could be a balanced force and it could be an unbalanced force. Unbalanced force. Balanced forces are those, I'll just take an example first. Suppose you must have played tug of war, in which there are two groups of people and then you are pulling the rope towards your side. Whosoever is stronger over there can pull the rope towards his side. So suppose both the groups are pulling the rope towards their side and it's not moving at all. It's not moving even a little bit. What does it mean? The force is not acting upon. The force is acting upon, but the thing is, the net force acting on the object is zero. So when net sum of all the forces acting on an object is zero, we call them balanced forces. For example, if I take an object and if I am pushing it with a force of 5 Newton. Newton is the unit of force. That is SI unit of force is Newton. So 5 Newton force I am applying it on this direction from left to right, and in the same way I am applying a 5 Newton force. Another person is applying the 5 Newton force from right to left. What do you think? What will happen? Will this box move? This box will not move because from both the sides the same amount of force is acting upon it. So you cannot say that the force is not acting upon. But the net sum of both the forces, acting upon this object is zero. 5 Newton force from left to right, 5 Newton force from right to left. So net sum of all the forces acting on an object is zero. So generally under the influence of balanced force, we are not able to see any change. We are not able to see anything. It is possible if you push the balloon from both the sides. So you are applying force on both the sides, so it may be a balance force and you can see the changing size and shape. But as far as the motion of an object is concerned, as far as the acceleration of an object is concerned, balance forces cannot bring about such kind of changes. It cannot accelerate an object. It can allow an object to remain at rest, it can allow an object to move in a uniform motion, but it cannot allow any object to accelerate. Similarly, unbalanced force, just opposite to it, when net sum of all the forces acting on an object is not zero. When net sum of all the forces acting on an object is not zero, then we call it that it is an unbalanced force. Unbalanced force, for example, if I place a box once again, there could be some mass of it, and then a force of 5 Newton applied from left to right, and a force of 10 Newton is applied from right to left. Naturally, this box will be moving from right to left because this force is more as compared to this. So the net sum of both the forces acting on this box is not zero, and this net sum of these two forces will bring about an acceleration into it, and it can bring it from rest to motion. So as I told you before, an unbalanced force can bring about changes like rest to motion, motion to rest, or acceleration, but balanced forces are not able to do this. In this same process, we will be studying about an experiment, and this experiment is of Galileo. Galileo's experiment. What he has done, he took two inclined planes and he took a piece of marble. Right? He took a piece of marble and two inclined planes which are frictionless. Frictionless, that means there is no external force act upon it. Because if there is a friction between these surfaces, there would be an external force. So we are just imagining that there is no external force acting upon it. So these two inclined planes are taken and there is a marble. So there is no net friction among them, between them, and this is a frictionless surface. Now he dropped this marble from position A. It reaches over there and moves towards this direction. How much height would it gain on the second side? It would reach up to here. Then he changed the inclination of this plane, and now this is the inclination. Again he dropped this marble from point A, and this time through this second inclined plane, when it comes over here, it reached up to here. Then again he changed the inclination of this plane, and this time it becomes this type of inclination. Again he dropped the marble from point A, and this time he observed that marble reached over there. What does it mean? It means that every time the marble is trying to gain this height, over it the same height, over here the same height, and even over here the same height. That means when there is no external force act upon it, that's a very important condition. I have told you when I started this experiment, I told you that there is no external force. In absence of any external force, this ball was trying to gain its height from where it was dropped. What does it mean? It means that under the absence of, when there is no external force, the object wants to remain in its own position. It could be rest or it could be motion. Think about an object which is placed in front of you. Until unless you do not apply an external force, it will not move. It will remain at its own position. And similarly, if you throw a ball on the surface, provided that the surface is frictionless, then the ball will keep on moving until unless you do not apply an unbalanced external force to stop it. So same way, when a ball is dropped from here, it tries to gain its height every time, and with this we reach to the first law of motion, which states that an object which is moving in a straight line with a uniform motion or at rest, an object which is an uniform motion on a straight path or in rest always try to remain in the same position unless and until an external unbalanced force is applied on it. So, unless and until an external force is applied on an object, it will remain at rest. If it was at rest, it will remain in uniform motion straight path if it was in the uniform motion straight path. And this is the property of an object, to which we also call inertia. What is inertia? Inertia is the tendency of an object to remain in the state of rest or in uniform motion. If a table placed in front of you, if it is at rest, an almirah which is at rest, anything which is placed at rest, it is at rest because of its inherent property, natural tendency to remain at the rest. And this is known as inertia. Similarly, an object which is moving on a straight path with a uniform motion will remain in motion because of inertia unless external force is applied on it. Inertia depends upon the mass of object. More the mass, more the inertia. Think about a heavy object is difficult to push it or pull it because it has more mass. It has more inertia. So inertia and the first law of motion are correlated to each other, and that is the reason the first law of motion is also known as law of inertia.